Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a little interesting. I was able to basically collect some different iPhone boxes from family members. So I thought it would be interesting to give you guys a look at 4 different generations of iPhones, but strictly from a packaging perspective. Now, quick disclaimer here, obviously because it's been so many years, these packages are all missing things like the chargers and any kind of adapters and dongles, maybe even stickers, and of course the phones themselves are no longer in these boxes, but I thought it would still be cool to give you guys a look. And so you can see how the iPhone packaging and Apple's design direction when it comes to packaging has evolved over time. So this represents about 10 years of evolution in iPhone packaging. Starting here, we have the iPhone 4, and then here is the iPhone 5. This is actually an iPhone 7, and then this is my iPhone 12 Pro Max. So real quick, all the boxes except for the 12 Pro Max are white, obviously, and the main reason behind this is from, I believe, the iPhone 11 generation, Apple switched to having black boxes for the Pro phones and white boxes only for the regular phones. So the iPhone 11 and iPhone 12 have white boxes, the 12 Pro and the 11 Pro have black boxes. So that's one big difference right off the bat. Secondly, in terms of dimensions, for the first 3 generations especially, is the iPhone 4's box. In terms of the ratio of the width to the length, is obviously a little smaller than the 5's, because the 5 is actually a little longer of a phone, and the 7 is a little bit longer than that, but in terms of width, they all seem to be about the same width. Now, obviously, that changes for the 12 Pro Max, because, as you can see, it's about, I want to say maybe 2/3 of the height, and it definitely seems probably a little more wide than previous iPhone boxes, although I think that might just be a function of how flat the box looks now. So comparing the Apple logos in the bottom of the packaging, the iPhone 4 has, of course, a shiny silver Apple logo that carries on to the 5. For the 7, it actually looks like there is still a shiny logo, but it is color matched to the color of the phone. So in this case, it's almost a goldish, rose goldish color, just to matching the iPhone. And with the 12 Pro Max, again, the Apple logo is matching the phone itself in terms of color, but I feel like it almost looks a little less glossy to me, a little more of a matte finish. I guess that they wanted to give it a more of a professional look. It is still kind of glossy and a little bit reflective, but it definitely has more of a matte finish. Now, if we take a look at the top of the packaging, of course, you can see some pretty strong differences here. So the iPhone 4, I love this packaging. I think this is a brilliant shot of the phone. I love the way it fills up the entire top of the packaging, and I think it's just really, really eye-catching. I love this. This one is probably my favorite, just in terms of the way it looks, because it shows off the design of the phone so well, which I still think is one of the best designed iPhones of all time. So you get to really see that great design. It almost alludes to the fact that the display is super high res, and yeah, I just love it overall. It's really eye-catching. The iPhone 5, it's a little more minimalistic. You're still, again, showing off the design of the phone, but it's almost more of a sideways profile of the phone, and it looks nice. It looks minimalistic. Of course, Apple, they never have bad product with photography, so it still looks great, but I don't like it as much as the iPhone 4. Now, the iPhone 7, one thing I've noticed in this packaging is that the phone itself, yes, you can only see the back of the phone, which, I'm not a huge fan of. I think it looks pretty plain, but I don't know if you can see this properly on camera, but the outline of the phone is actually raised up a little slightly above the rest of the packaging. So the portion of the top of this that's the phone actually sticks out quite a bit, and you can really feel it. It gives it more of a 3D effect, especially when you run your fingers over it. It doesn't look that much different, but once you start feeling it, then you can definitely tell that it's raised up and gives it more of a tactile effect. The 12 Pro Max, you see from the front, it almost feels very abstract to me instead of being a typical representation of the phone. You can see from the front, sure, it is technically the phone, but with the emphasis on the wallpaper and almost the color of the wallpaper, it almost feels like it's more of like abstract to me. So I think this looks really cool. It looks really futuristic, but I do prefer the iPhone 4. So if I had to rank these from my favorite to my least favorite, I would say iPhone 4 is my favorite, 12 Pro Max second favorite, Third favorite is the iPhone 5. And lastly, despite the 3D effect on this, I still think the iPhone 7's packaging, it just seems a little bland to me. One more thing I forgot to mention, the 12 Pro Max also has that same kind of 3D effect, where the phone portion of on top of the packaging is actually raised a little bit, so that's super nice. On the sides of the phone too, you'll notice some differences. So iPhone 4 says iPhone 4 there. iPhone 5 says iPhone 5. And then the 7, it just says iPhone, very simply. And the 12 Pro Max, again, just says iPhone. So 4, 5, phone, phone. As far as the colors, these are also follow the similar trend of the Apple logo. So the silver color on the 4 and the 5 is like really shiny. Here as well on the iPhone 7, it's matched to kind of a rose gold color. And here, I don't know if you can see it properly on camera, but it's almost like a dark blue. So another interesting thing is that fonts. So it looks like the iPhone 4 has that pretty standard early iPhone font, quite bold. And then the iPhone 5's packaging font is a lot skinnier. And then with the iPhone 7, by the time you get to that, it's using a different, what looks like a slightly different font face, but it's also, again, a little bit bolder. But then you have pretty much that same font face on the 12 Pro Max. So just thought that would be a little interesting to show off. And on the other side of each phone as well, you have the same kind of iPhone text. Anyway, let's take a quick look inside these packages. Again, I'm not going to show off too much of the insides because I don't think there's really much to show off there, especially since a lot of the items that came with the packaging and came with the phone are missing from each of these. So let's take a look at the iPhone 4 first. As you can see, standard Apple packaging. Here's where the charger brick would have gone, RIP. Here's where I guess the headphones would have gone and probably the cable. So designed by Apple in California thing. And you have the phone itself. And I like how there's a tiny cutout for what seems like the volume rocker and the power button. Pretty cool. All in all, just really standard on the inside. Now, iPhone 5. Again, this seems really essentially identical to me, except the cutouts on the inside here seem a little more polished. It almost seemed like on the iPhone 4 they just had basic separators. Let me actually open it up and give you a quick comparison. It almost seems like they had just kind of basic squared off separators, but here it's almost like they made these indentations specifically for whatever was supposed to go in all of those. So definitely a little more polished here. Now on the iPhone 7, I don't know if this is the original order it's supposed to be in, but as you can see here, you also have the same kind of cutouts, except these look a little different. I think this is where the cable is supposed to go, and that seems like where the charging brick was supposed to go. I don't think they bundled any headphones with these, unless I'm mistaken. So yeah, the cutouts do look different, but overall, again, just really similar. Of course, where you'll see the most difference is the 12 Pro Max. So obviously, much smaller package. They didn't have the power brick. They still do have those cutouts, which is nice. And they do have this design by Apple in California. Everything just looks a little more shallow to me, obviously, because there's less in the box itself. Another thing that I noticed is that the top part of this packaging has a cool cutout for the camera bump on the 12 Pro Max. Also, this top part, for some reason, seems substantially more thick and more heavy than the top parts for all the other iPhones. So that was pretty interesting. It seems like it's a lot sturdier. I think because the phone is so heavy, they wanted some additional reinforcement, but also I think that they figured that they would want to keep the package feeling a little heavy. So it does feel almost slightly heavier than even the iPhone 7. So probably just to have that more premium feel. Yeah, guys, anyway, that was pretty much it. Again, hopefully you found it interesting. I certainly never really put all these side by side, so even for me, it's pretty interesting to see how Apple's packaging and their kind of branding and ethos with the iPhone has evolved from, the iPhone 4 back in 2010 to the 12 Pro Max in 2020. So hope you guys like this. If you enjoyed it, please leave me a like, and a subscribe to this channel would be super duper awesome. Thank you guys. See you tomorrow.